content, man. All right, take 2. Furby, quiet. God. Take 3. How to eliminate overwhelm. This is happening a lot in our world today. So I'm just gonna dive straight into feeling overwhelmed myself and what I do to eliminate it in my life. First off, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I kind of want to look to the opposite to find out what's so underwhelming about my actions. Let me expand. When I'm not motivated by my actions and by my values being put in place and my actions following those values, I often start to build up situations and scenarios that actually feel extremely overwhelming. Again, let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a bunch of bills left behind. Let's say maybe there's a situation in your life that I've definitely been through myself where you leave things behind, you just kind of let them build up and they build up and they build up and they get to a point where you feel overwhelmed. When you take care of these things and you get them out of the way, whether it's grief or guilt or any other thing that comes up that often feels very heavy of an emotion, it creates a lot of overwhelming feelings, overwhelming thoughts. And this centers from the beliefs that we feel about ourselves in accordance with that current situation or that current condition. Now, that condition can be changed under the right circumstances and under the right motives and values and alignments, as long as we so choose to believe that we can change them and take action on doing so. Now, currently in my life, I'm doing a ton of work, more than I've ever done in my entire life in the span of a day. And I'm actually surprising myself on a daily basis with how much work I can really get done. Now, if I sit there in sympathy of myself and I say, oh, you're doing a lot of work, good job, man, keep going, and I start to take on the energy of feeling like I'm burning myself out or I'm doing too much work, that's a very unmotivating thought process. And it's not true. The reality is we're capable of a lot more than we think we're capable of. And oftentimes I would get sold by people around me by choosing to be around these people that I was doing too much, or that my energy was too much, or that, I was maybe overwhelming them. And these feelings could almost penetrate my mind and make me feel like I'm overwhelming to people, or maybe I need to slow down, or maybe I need to take it back a gear or dial it down. When I stopped listening to all of that chatter outside myself, I started to turn off the environmental chatter and I started to change my inner chatter. And when I changed my inner chatter, everything in my world changed. I didn't talk to myself and tell myself that I wasn't doing enough anymore, or that I was too much, or I was working too hard. And you know what, some nights I stay up, like tonight for example, and I burn the midnight oil, or I do a little bit of extra work, but the next day and that night when I go to sleep, I feel really good about myself. I feel good that I actually got that work done. Because when I go look at my kids, and when I go look at my girlfriend, or I go look at somebody who I really, really love, I know I'm doing my best. I know I'm living up to my potential. But one way that I find that I often get really overwhelmed is when I know I'm underperforming and I'm doing an underwhelming act after act after act after act. I'm putting things aside, I'm stepping into laziness, I'm stepping into things that are just not good for me. So what do? I be more of who I really am, more of my potential. I don't let other people get in the way. I don't let other things get in the way. I remove all those things and all those things that are taking my attention, and I put myself into a better condition where I can feel better when I look in the mirror, where I can feel better when I do the things that I know I'm capable of. And what happens from there? Well, what I appreciate about myself doing that work appreciates in my world. Now, what about overwhelm when you have too many things to do? There's too many things on your plate. Let's take a look. Well, having too many... Let's take a look at that. That's my one-liner that I say in everything I say and do.
This ain't no joke. This is dead serious.
What do we do when it's too much. We have way too many things on our plate. There's too many overwhelming circumstances happening in our lives. What do we do then? Well, the best thing you can do, and what I choose to do, is to remove one obstacle at a time. That's all you can do. You remove one obstacle at a time and you take steps to do it. You don't just think of everything and group it all together and put it into a big group and say, I've got too much on my plate, because that's recipe for disaster. That's where I'm going to definitely start to quit, and I'm going to definitely start to get down on myself and feel like I've let it get this bad, I'm beating myself up. So guess what? Take everything step by step. If you have too many overwhelming things happening from outside you, take a second to slow down, breathe into it, figure out where this is all coming from, and take it one thing at a time. Divide it up into different steps. So what I do is I take a list, I take notes of things that are going on, and I find out where I'm at first, and then what I have to do or who I have to be to get out of that current condition. And when I change the circumstance of the current condition, I slowly lift myself up out of that current condition. So when there's all kinds of overwhelming things, when there's all kinds of stresses coming from the outside of you, take things one step at a time and make sure you go easy on yourself, but also hold yourself accountable to make the necessary changes to lift yourself up step by step. You weren't even listening to me.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, she was listening. Hey Furby, my name's Keegan. Hey, what do you want to say? How do we eliminate overwhelm?